But talking about the bigger picture, and we're going to talk about teams that we believe that missed out on the playoffs last season, but maybe in the playoffs this season. So that does tend to happen quite a lot. We don't really get the same playoff teams year on, year out. You get the same cornerstone ones like the Chiefs and the Eagles and teams like that tend to go to it very regularly. But a lot of the lower tier teams that are in the wild card do tend to be different year on year. So the only rule with this is they can't have gone to the playoffs last year. It doesn't mean they can't have been to the playoffs anyway at any given point. So Adam, I'll go to you first. What team do you think may sneak in with a playoff chance this year?
Yeah, so mine's a bit of a boring one. I think most people would go for this one. The Atlanta Falcons for me. I think it feels like they're now in a position where the big problem they had last year was the lack of quarterback. That was what I think a lot of people were most concerned about. Obviously, the likes of Tyler Heineke is not there anymore, or Desmond Ridder. And what they've gone for Kirk Cousins, who looks like he's fully fit. From what we've seen of the preseason, he seems like he says he's fully fit, he's raring to go, and that kind of quarterback is really what I think they need in order to be able to get themselves into the playoffs. He's been in the playoffs many times before with the Vikings. He's done very well in that respect, and so I think that having that leadership there as a quarterback is probably what they have really been missing. I think not only that obviously they've got some great weapons that we kind of knew anyway with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, of course, at running back. So the offense looks quite strong at the moment. They've even brought Darnell Mooney in, who, like, as a number two, isn't a bad guy to bring in. Now, the one area, and when we did our NFC South preview, Fred, the thing that concerned me the most was the defense. It just didn't feel like it was strong enough or had enough on it. And one massive thing that we came up with during the draft process was that they needed an edge rusher. They have done that since we did the preview, bringing out.
They pretty much did everything that we said they should probably do.
Yeah. So, I mean, bringing in someone like Matthew Judon again in the same kind of way as Kirk Cousins, actually, it kind of brings that experience as well as just someone who's going to get the results that they need to. Really like him. Think he's been great most of his career, and he's going to be pretty good for them. I'll be shocked if he isn't. And then also bringing in Justin Simmons as well. And, you start looking at these things, you start going that they've paid AJ Terrell. It's kind of like they're getting their captains, so to speak, in specific areas on that defense. And all of a sudden, that defense that kind of let them down a little bit last year, it wasn't overly fantastic. Suddenly looks like it's got a few guys on it that's going to make a real difference for them. Not only that, they're in a division that really isn't going to be that hard to win, I don't think. When you look at the teams that are in it, they're not fantastic. The Bucks are going to probably be their hardest competition in this one. They've got some unknowns as well, in the fact that they've lost their OC. And he was supposed, Dave Canales, the quarterback whisperer, obviously has gone. And so that could be an issue for Baker. You've got Carolina, which obviously have got, are not really in that position. Although I think they'll do a lot better than last year, they're not really in the position to start looking at getting into the playoffs, I don't think. And then the New Orleans Saints with Dennis Allen, who just depresses me most of the time, to be brutally honest, and the way that he talks about his players and coaches football teams. So, I think that there's not a great amount of competition. I think they've got themselves a team now that kind of feels like they've gone a bit all in. I think that's probably fair to say with the players that they've brought in now. And they've got an upgrade at their coaching, they've got an upgrade at their quarterback, they've got an upgrade on the defense, and they only really missed out by a few games last year anyway. So I'm going to go for them.
Well, no Desmond Ridder at all anymore. He's been cut today, along with a lot of other players that are being cut as we speak while we're doing this. Funnily enough, on a sidebar thing, after Andrew said that Isaiah Hodgins would be the big backup, he has been cut as well by the New York Giants. So that's just a little inside thing on what is happening on our WhatsApp group at the minute between a few of us. So yeah, no, I think you're and you know what's funny, if Kirk goes down, but if people worried about that, Michael Penix is right behind. And we're all very excited to see what Michael Penix can do as well. Do you think, Johnny, that some of these players on this team is a bit of a prove-it year for them as well? Players like Carl Pitts, for example, who had such big hype coming into this. AJ Terrell is seen as one of the best cornerbacks, but not the best cornerback in the league. Judon has been at the heights of being one of the best edge rushers. Can he stick to that level? I suppose Bijan Robinson had a great start of the year a great start of the year last year, but it did sort of peter out. He wants to probably have a big boom this year as well. Do you think there's sort of a bit of a chip on the shoulder for some of these players? Kirk as well, he's been turned away by the Vikings after another team that's turned him away after the Commanders also got rid of him as well. It's sort of a chip on the shoulder sort of team, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think Kurt's arrival, obviously it's been a while off season for them. The pick for Penix, however you judge that, but they've obviously clearly massively improved in the one position that they needed to. They've now got obviously Kirk, who's we know how much he can help the team. Whether regardless of whether he's coming off the back of a big injury, and then Penix as well. I'm sure they will be a huge upgrade on the likes of Tyler Heineke and Desmond Ridder. So yeah, I think the players like Kyle Pitts, Drake London, I think Bijan Robinson will come into his own last year. I think, from what we saw of him, the limited, I suppose, resource that he had around him and the situations he was put in. I mean, he was just in the London game, the hospital passes that Desmond Ridder was chucking at him, and he was able to get out of those sort of situations. He's going to come on leaps and bounds, and I'm convinced of that. So, yeah, I think there is a general feel-good factor. The Falcons have gone all in, and I think as Adam mentioned, the probably the best thing about it is how poor the rivals are around them. They've got a relatively good schedule, which should put them in good stead to get to the playoffs. With I don't want to say with ease, but they should be the NFC South champions at the end of the year, given how much I think they've improved. And not saying that the rivals haven't improved, but I think there is clear daylight because of who they have now at quarterback. They should be a good pick to make the playoffs.
Right, well, we'll put the Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys to bed, and we'll move on to another topic momentarily. Again,